You are all here for one reason, and one reason only. It is our daily update on As the Pac-12 Turns. I feel like that's the name of the show.
It really is.
Monty and Jake on the Pac-12 Turns show. Pretty significant update today, and that is that the Big 12 continues to kick the crap out of the Pac-12 in business. You know, we told you, and Brett Yormark told you, really, not even us, but Brett Yormark told you that he was going to monetize basketball. And today, I believe that has begun. The Big 12 has formed a partnership with the legendary Rucker Park in New York City. And they are going to be doing basketball clinics at Rucker Park. And this just feels like a natural fit. It feels like a home run. And it just is another indication that Brett Yormark is outmaneuvering the Pac-12. Because let's not get this twisted. This is not in the Big 12's footprint. This is New York City, right? This is not, even Oklahoma, Kansas. This isn't in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. This isn't out in Florida. This isn't down in Texas or out in the mountains. No, friends, it's New York City, where the Big 12 really doesn't have a significant polar footprint. You've got West Virginia, but they're down there cleaning coal. This is Rucker Park in New York City. It's legendary. It's street ball. It's where really some of the biggest titans of basketball played their games as kids. It's Rucker Park. And now the Big 12 and Rucker Park have come to an agreement today, Jake. And I think it's an absolute stroke of genius.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we all know that the better half of the Big 12 is basketball. And we know that football is trying to catch up, but basketball in the Big 12 has obviously been on point. And I think that, this is the kind of out-of-box thinking that I've been advocating for in the Pac-12 for a long time. And I think now the Big 12 is showing you what major organizations, corporations, teams can do if they would just step back and say, okay, wait, what would be a really natural fit for us? What would be a nice, out-of-the-box, creative fit for us? And I think, the brilliance of this Rucker Park deal is that, it is a basketball mecca. It is New York City. Like, it just has natural synergy. And to me, this is kind of what I'm talking about when we talk about, like being creative and getting out into the community. I don't need, and with all due respect, like, food drives are awesome. And those traditional community activism events are awesome, and those need to continue and those need to keep growing. But I think when you're trying to make more money and you're trying to do something that grows your brand more, getting creative and getting outside of the box is really what you need to do. And I really feel like this is precisely that, because it is outside the Big 12's footprint, because it is stepping into a major city. We're not talking about some random city in Massachusetts, right? We're not talking about, some little town in whatever state you want to point to. I mean, you're in, the mecca of the country, New York City. And I think that really is just sort of a flex of the Big 12. And I think Brett Yormark just understands, hey, like, if we can start expanding our brand, that doesn't even have to be through a media deal or TV or anything. If we can get our biggest basketball names out in the sunlight, out in front of people, out making relationships, that's more powerful than watching a game is ever going to be. There will be memories made there for kids that they will never forget. Mm-hmm. And I think that type of thing is ultimately what brings you fans for life. And that's what I think Brett Yormark is really playing at here. He's saying, okay, let's be real aggressive. Let's be on the forefront. Let's use this momentum, and let's go and meet new people, because he understands, hey, yes, we're the best basketball conference in the land, but that doesn't mean that meeting new people is a bad thing or getting out there is a bad thing.
But I also think this is why the Big 12 is so attractive to Gonzaga basketball. And I know that Brett Yormark has talked all about Gonzaga, mm-hmm. And that he wants to bring Gonzaga into the conference. I like
Gonzaga.
You do, Commissioner. I totally understand
Gonzaga.
that. But I think if you're Gonzaga in this situation, I think this is one of the reasons why you look at the Big 12 and you see an attractive home for yourselves. Mm-hmm. Because you look at Gonzaga and they're trying to grow. They're trying to emerge. They're trying to reach out to and create new recruiting lanes. And if you're Gonzaga and you have your two best players and Mark Few coaching a clinic at the legendary Rucker Park, all of a sudden kids from Brooklyn, kids from Queens, all the boroughs in New York who've never heard of Gonzaga, because I guarantee you there's a whole lot of kids in the Northeast who have never heard of Gonzaga. Young kids, teenagers, street ball players who don't know who the Gonzaga Bulldogs are.
And if they have heard of Gonzaga, they have no idea where Gonzaga is. They don't know.
They don't know what Spokane, Washington is.
Yeah, they don't know what that is.
Right? So now you give Gonzaga a chance to have this reach. And again, you're monetizing your basketball side. You're monetizing a brand new revenue stream. You're charging up a brand new revenue stream that's cash in your hand. Like it is new money, found money.
Yes.
And Brett Yormark is working to build that. This is what we always talked about with Larry Scott not doing. This is what we always talk about with George Kliavkoff not doing. Not being innovative, not working to open up new, think about it, back in the founders' times of our country, like trade routes, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
Rucker Park has found money for the Big 12, and it's absolutely brilliant. And you could sit here and you could say, oh, you guys are just being Big 12 homers. You just hate the Pac-12. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that Brett Yormark, who talked about wanting to bring in culture to the Big 12, openly talked about the fact that, he wants to bring in rappers to the Big 12 tournament, which he did. Mm-hmm. He wants to bring in the NBA culture into Big 12 basketball. Well, why is that? Because he wants it to be happening. And when you listen to Brett Yormark talk about creating value in basketball, tell me in this clip, tell me he's not talking about things like Rucker Park.
We'll explore opportunities to further monetize basketball when we go back into the market after this new TV deal. So I think everything we do from now till then is all about value creation and how can we position ourselves to monetize basketball in all the right ways. I'm convinced we can do that. The strength of our conference obviously will dictate much of that. And as I said earlier, with Houston coming in, we get that much stronger. And who knows where expansion takes us and what that means for our basketball program, both men's and women's. So,
facts. Gonzaga is coming in.
Yeah, dude.
This is a very good day. Another good day. And this is the part, if you're a Pac-12 fan, this is the part that should be a real kick in the balls. It's another good day to be a Big 12 fan. Mm-hmm. It is another good day. It is another day with a win. It's another day with a press release. It's another day where you just continue to generate goodwill, good media, good momentum, good press. New York City is talking about the Big 12 today. They are. And you know that the tournament's in New York right now, right? I mean, the Big 12 is the center of the basketball world. And everybody says, well, the SEC and Kansas is out and the Big 12 flopped. That may be true. So let's see. You had a bad tournament, but you're in the Sweet 16 and you're making headlines at Rucker Park.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
While the Big 12 is playing at the Garden.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't make
synergy.
this stuff
it's perfect.
up.
It's perfect.
And then you get this story today. And again, you're only going to hear about this on the Monty Show. Our sources at ESPN are telling us that ESPN and the Pac-12 have nothing new, and they don't expect anything new. And that the Pac-12 and ESPN are capped. And ESPN is not willing to surpass $90 million a year for 5 years. $90 million a year. And it is 2 games a week. It is 1 on TV on the ESPN family of networks, and it is 1 on the digital properties. And that means ESPN Plus, that means the app, that means the .com.
Yeah.
This is a big deal because we've worked really hard on this show to bring you this information and to be right and to be credible. And what this says is Pac-12's got to find $210 million in the marketplace to catch the Big 12's yearly money. And I just don't see how that happens. And I'm not trying to be, again, doom and gloom guy. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not a coincidence, that our sources in the TV industry and at ESPN are giving us this information on the same day. that the Big 12 and Rucker Park make a deal. Maybe that's not coincidence. But what I'm telling you is, if you're giving 2 games a week to the ESPN platform, and they're going to pay you $90 million a year for that, you're in real trouble now, because that's $9 million per school. Where's the other $21 million going to come from?
I thought you said 9.
$9 million. That's what that works out to of the 10 remaining. $9 million a year per school from ESPN.
This is a code kind of board.
You've got to find $21 million per school per year in streaming money. And I just think this is going to be very difficult to do. I was also told today by my sources at ESPN that they're really just interested in football, that there is not a lot of inventory available to them during the basketball season for a couple of reasons. Here's where layoffs come in. Here's where budgets come in. They're not looking to add and staff up with their talent. They're going to multi-purpose their talent. They're going to have their TV talent doing radio. They're going to have their TV talent doing Sports Center and doing the NBA. They're going to have their TV talent working on multiple streams. And what that tells you is there's only so much talent to go around at ESPN. They're not going to continue to add and grow and develop new talent simply to cover a wealth of college basketball. Their desire is college football. And with the Pac-12, their desire is 2 games a week, $90 million a year for 5 years. That's the only number that ESPN is willing to talk about. And this goes with a lot of the other reporting that we've had where we've heard, hey, ESPN and the Pac-12 have not talked in a significant amount of time, 4 to 6 weeks, because there's nothing new and they don't expect anything new. Because ESPN and ABC understand we're in the driver's seat here, because if we don't get the Pac-12, we're just fine. We're just fine. If we get the Pac-12, we really only want football, and we really only want 2 football games a week. That's it. And ESPN, by the way, is also willing to produce those games. They are not willing to be, essentially leveraged as a broadcast producer.
No.
For Apple TV or for anybody else. Because remember, with Amazon, I believe it was NBC that was producing their Thursday Night Football package for them. So if it goes to Amazon, they're still going to have to find a production partner, and that may be the Pac-12 networks. But the bottom line here is you don't have a TV deal with the Pac-12 because they don't have the money to get it done. And we've heard all of this doom and gloom, and we've heard all about $22 million per school per year in TV. That feels a lot more plausible now when you hear that ESPN is only willing to go $90 million per year, and it's 2 games a week. That is, Jake, to me, if I'm a Pac-12 supporter, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right on schedule. I think it's not, that far out of left field, in my opinion, for what we've been telling you. And I think that, yeah, if I'm a Pac-12 supporter, yeah, I'm not thrilled to hear that. I'm not, jumping up and down saying, yeah, we're going to be okay, because I can't definitively say you're going to be okay. And again, I'm just going to keep bringing up the fact that all these ADs and presidents decided they wanted to talk last week and this week, right? Like they all wanted to talk the last probably 7-8 days. And now that this has come out through our sourcing, it makes a lot of sense. Think about it. They're all on the same page. Hey, this is what ESPN's willing to give us. Now we got to go and figure out, hey, what is Amazon and Apple willing to provide? And do we like that? Are we willing to, once again, are we willing to do a stream-heavy deal to make up the $210 million gap to the Big 12? Man. Or are we too prideful, and are we just going to say, yeah, we want this or that because we want to be TV-heavy, even though it's not really an option for you? So that's why I say, yeah, if you're a Pac-12 fan, it's not great news, but to me, this information falls right in line with what's been building here in this situation.
Yeah, and I understand now why, we have led the line. And again, I know that guys like Tanner Plummer, hey, you guys, you're going to hurt yourself, pat yourself on the back. But I'm going to tell you again, we told you in the fall it was $25 million a year. Mm-hmm. We told you back around Christmas time when we got new numbers that said, hey, they're at $22 million a year now. Now we understand why. Because we've been looking for that explanation as to why did that number go down? Why did that number go down? because ESPN's under $100 million a year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very difficult. I can see you getting $13 million a year from a stream partner.
Yes.
I can absolutely see Amazon or Apple TV doing that.
Well, and I think you could see a combination too, right? Like I would kind of be surprised if Amazon was just 100% out. Like we've been telling you for a while.
I would agree.
Amazon wants one game a week that's very similar to the NFL package they have.
And
which
we've been hearing that for
long time,
months now.
Yeah.
Our sources in television told us months ago, Amazon's is not looking for like an entire slate of games. They're looking for a Friday night showcase game in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Is what we were told. And that makes a lot of sense. They would have NFL on Thursday. They would have Pac-12 on Friday. And then that Pac-12 package would then flip to, hey, ESPN's going to have a game on Saturday night. And they're going to have a game on Saturday afternoon on the app, the .com and ESPN Plus. But here's the problem. That's only 3 games. And you have 10 teams right now. Before expansion, you have 10 teams. And then let's talk about expansion. If ESPN's at $90 million, are they going to up that for SMU and San Diego State? I have a hard time believing that. And this is the other issue that I look at with Apple TV or even with Amazon. Amazon doesn't view, from what I understand, Amazon doesn't view these rights fees like a TV company does. They're not necessarily interested in the television market of San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles. They're interested in attracting more people to subscribe to Amazon Prime.
right.
Is San Diego State going to do that? Is SMU going to do that? Is Boise State going to do that? Nah, somehow I don't think so. I don't think those are big draws that are going to say, hey, let's up our cash influx. Hey, we're, Tim Cook at Apple TV. Man, you guys got San Diego State, boy. Here's another $50 million. How
about that?
It doesn't work like that. Whereas, like, you look at BYU to the Big 12, we found out they're worth $1 to $3 million, depending on who you believe. $1 to $3 million is what they were valued at. So are you telling me, let's go on the high end of that San Diego State brings $3 million into the fold for ESPN. Now you're at $93 million. That's $15 more million. Are we really moving the needle at that point? You're at $93 million. You're at $465 million over 5 years. You haven't really moved the needle at all.
Yeah.
Sure, that's $3 million. It may, push you a little closer to $30 million. But this is why I continue to say I don't see an avenue, no matter who takes it, unless Apple TV takes every single ounce of basketball and football programming from the Pac-12, and they come. But you can't tell me that's $300 million a year.
Yeah.
Is Apple going to pay the Pac-12 $300 million a year?
No. I mean, I would be surprised.
Without expansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
300. I don't see that happening.
And they're kind of in the same spot as Amazon in the sense that it's like, hey, we're not really necessarily interested in San Diego or LA or Chicago or New York. We're not interested in markets. We need people to subscribe. We need people to download, the Apple TV app. We need, you know what I mean? Like, so to me, I just think that if you're, again, it's kind of the situation that I've been explaining. Like, if you're George Kliavkoff, you're in a tremendously difficult spot because not only is it a philosophical problem, it's a monetary problem. And I think that there's just no getting around that. Like try to put yourself in this guy's shoes. And again, I'm not saying that this guy's a good commissioner because he's not. I'm not saying he's done a good job because he hasn't. But the reality of the situation is the position he is essentially unfixable because you have a group of presidents that philosophically isn't aligned. Your money is way under what it should be.
That's exactly right.
That's right. So what exactly are you going to do? Because if the money was good, right? Like if the money was chill and we were good there, but all you had to do was philosophically fix it, you'd be fine. Or vice versa, right?
Yes,
if you were philosophically aligned and you just kind of had to work the money out, okay, great. We probably have a deal already. But that, I'm telling you, on top of everything we've just discussed, that's why a deal's not done. And that's why I maintain a deal will not get done for a minute because I don't know how you get Washington to sign on to a deal that's, 60% streaming at this point because we know what the ESPN money is. Like if the ESPN money is $9 million a year, per school. That basically means that the percentage of money you need to get from a streamer is what, 60%?
Yeah.
At least? Like, Cossay at Washington's not signing on to that deal. I would think Phil Knight wouldn't be cool with that kind of deal.
I think you have, I think it's an issue. But the other thing I was told today about this Rucker Park deal is that you have a situation where this is also going to allow the Big 12 to create third-tier programming for basketball. So when they go to Rucker Park, they're going to create a docuseries on it. They're going to create social content on it. They're going to create YouTube content on it. They're going to create website content on it.
Yeah.
So you're handing these guys, and by the way, one of the other things that I think will be interesting to see, how much NIL money is involved in this? Because are you going to pay those players, and what is the financial partnership? Because I think that's a big part of this. You look at this money that we're talking about at ESPN, this is a real problem. And then you start looking at these deals like Rucker Park, Big 12 and Rucker Park today announced this partnership. I got to think if you're a Gonzaga Bulldog in 2 years and you're in the conference, you're thrilled to be doing these claims.
Gonzaga.
I think to have your name associated with that, with Rucker Park,
Gonzaga
is a big deal. And I mean, you have NBA stars that go play in the summer at Rucker Park
Kobe, Kevin Durant,
because
Kyrie.
it's that big of a deal, man. So I think it's a big deal. What do you guys think? There's a lot going on with the Pac-12 and the Big 12 today. Unbelievably, it seems like every day we get new news on this. And it's remarkable. And I don't mean like on the TV deal. I mean like, hey, the Big 12 is at Rucker Park, right? That's an incredible. I can't believe that deal.
Yeah.
I can't believe that deal. And the only thing that I can think of that explains the prowess and the power of Brett Yormark is that he's bucked up. That's
Yes.
all I can think is the Brett. He's got some gin and juice and stuff.
And no, we're not chugging him again today. Don't try me.
No, I'm not. I am
try
going
me.
to today.
My guy barely survived last night.
Well, the problem is, well, that's true. The problem is that was Miami, and I love Miami.
Yeah.
I have a passionate love affair. Even though the edges of the can are a little sharp, I have a passionate love affair with Bucked Up Miami. It is my flavor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move on. But Jim and Juice.
Yeah. I'm on Blue Raz today.
I'm telling you, have you ever tried Jim and Juice?
I don't think so.
You should give that a whirl, man. It's good. Jim and Juice is good too. I'm a Miami guy, but here's the deal. Don't take my word for it. What did I get today? I put in my order.
That is excellent.
It is. It's really good. I put in my order a Bucked Up today. And I will show you guys what I did because, man, I'm telling you, it's freaking phenomenal how well at 5 a.m. when you're trying to get your lazy ass out of bed, it's pretty phenomenal how well your body does when you get some racked BCAAs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
can see that, but I got racked BCAAs. I got some LFG pre-workout, and I got another Bucked Up hydro jug. They have these beautiful 64-ounce hydro jugs. Make sure you go to buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty to get 20% off your purchase at buckedup.com. Or don't take my word for it. I tell you every day about BCAAs. They have great BCAAs that have carnitine in it, so it's stripping the fat out of your system. Carnitine processes fat in your body so that you lose inches, you lose weight. You got to get it, but get samples of it for free.
Yeah.
Get those free samples. In the description below, there's a link that says Bucked Up free samples. Get the free samples. Get the best shaker cup in the business from buckedup.com. Pick any color you want. Pick any 3 free samples you want. They'll ship them right to your front door.
Yeah.
That's how Bucked Up rolls. By the way, our guy Ryan Gardner at Bucked Up. Let's go.
Bro.
Let's go.
Dude, and let me pull it out for Ryan Gardner
Let's
here.
go. The Utah CEO of the year.
Yes.
Ryan Gardner at
Yeah,
Bucked
dude.
Up.
Yep.
How about that? We tell you every day that we work with all of these great partners and that Bucked Up Energy is a great local company here in Utah. Ryan Gardner named the CEO at Bucked Up, named the Utah CEO of the year.
Facts.
Congratulations.
Yeah, dude.
Bucked Up. Congratulations, Ryan
Yes.
Gardner. Congratulations to your entire team at Bucked Up. because he's got this great group of guys and gals that he works with. The people at Bucked Up work really hard. For Ryan Gardner to win the CEO of the year, get out of here. That's phenomenal, dude.
Bro.
Phenomenal.
I'm for real.
Hook it up. Get the free samples. Help the show grow. Congratulations to Ryan at Bucked Up.
I'm for real.
Enough of us, more of you. Let's go. Court McMullen says 35 days to the NFL draft. By the way, anybody see Bryce Young at Alabama today? Hell yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. That's my guy. And you know the legit. The one thing I'll say about Bryce Young, and I know everybody says, oh, he's too small. He's a dainty little flower. Nobody said one word about his size. And in fact, what the scouts and what the pundits there were saying, size was never the issue.
What do you bet?
He throws and he plays taller than he is. Their main concern is he weighed 204 pounds at the combine, and he refused to get on the scale today. Bryce Young did not want to weigh today, which tells you he's probably under 200 pounds.
Do you even live?
And that, I think, is going to be the biggest concern about Bryce Young, because in the NFL, you have to be a lot more durable.
Yeah.
But, man, I loved what I saw from Bryce Young today. In fact, if you missed it, I'll play you a little tape of Bryce Young throw. And I just love the arm action. You see the throws outside. Now, by the way, he doesn't have the wide receivers that, like C.J. Stroud had. But look at these throws. He's putting it on him. That's on his chest, on his hands. And look at this deep throw. The deep throw to end this tape. Look at where he puts this. See what you did here, Court.
Yeah.
See what you did here, Court. Now your awesome comment that has led me to being derailed. If you look at this throw, I'll play the tape again. But if you look at this last. You look at this last deep throw out of Bryce Young, he's got amateur receivers he's throwing to. A lot of drop balls today, but that's on the numbers. Now look at this deep throw and look where he puts it to a guy that's not running as hard as he can run. Look at that. Boom. If that is an NFL caliber wide receiver, if that was Jackson Smith and Jigba, that's on the dot. He looked really good today. He threw the ball really well today. He had a nice high release. Big, strong guy. I think Bryce Young is absolutely going to be a stud.
Yeah.
I don't think, though, there's any doubt. Before we get to your comments on the Big 12 and the Pac-12, did you guys see this thing at C.J. Stroud's pro day yesterday that Josh McCown, the new quarterback coach at Carolina, said to C.J., hey, you spun it well, bro. That was great. That's awesome. And then they proceeded to make a bet on a game of horse. He's going to Carolina.
Uh-huh.
It's over. And again, the owner was at C.J. Stroud's pro day. They're going to travel. They were at Bryce Young's pro day. David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, they're going to be at all of them. Mm-hmm. They're taking C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
And you know what? Frankly, as they should. If that's their guy and they've identified him, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. Day-Old Donuts, a member of the program, Pac-12 After Dark with Rachel Maddow. Okay. Cougar Track says these commercials are getting longer, but I am bucked up.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, did we play a commercial for Bucked Up?
No.
Cougar Tracks, we appreciate you. Brian Hornbeck says, I wonder if Bucked Up can make a Pac-12 flavor. Yeah, I don't know.
Nah, I don't think so, bro.
What would a Pac-12 flavor of Bucked Up taste like? What
Because
would that?
it's garbage.
What would that even look like?
Not good, because the Pac-12 not good, man.
You know, I have no idea. Let's see. Drew Money says Gonzaga and St. John's to the Big 12. I'm not a Johnny because they hired Rick Pitino.
Gonzaga.
I'm not over that.
15 seconds of greatness, dude.
And which refers to Rick Pitino's testimony that he had an affair and the sexual encounter lasted 15 seconds.
I'm so bricked up right now.
15 seconds. Okay, that's fine. Rick Olson, not a member, says go Ducks. Christopher Shannon says C.J. Stroud for me. I totally agree. Mark Hale says size isn't an issue. That is what Mrs. Monty said.
I'm so bricked up right now.
See what he did there?
He's helping you out, bro.
I'm not sure. Did he call me fat or is that a small penis joke? Listen, man, just because I got big hands and a size 15 shoe, it doesn't mean anything. Trust me. itty bitty.
Can you measure it?
That's what I'm saying. Renee Roca says, who will Mahomes beat in next year's Super Bowl? Don't know. Don't know. Randall Moore, you do know that your continuous use of bucked up not playing well on my YouTube.
What does that mean?
What is it? Yeah, what does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Provo Cougar fan says, puked up the new Pac-12 bucked up flavor. Wow. Wow. Mike Maples says, bought a starting lineup of bucked up today and grabbed the Miami pre-workout. LFG,
Yo,
let's go.
Pictures, dude.
Let's go. Yeah, pictures or it didn't happen, Mapes. I'm telling you. I love bucked up pre-workout. The thing that I like so much about the pre-workout is that they don't, it doesn't crush you. Like, you know how there's a lot of pre-workouts to get you way up and way down?
Yeah, you just fall on your face.
Yeah. Christopher says Monty is a size guy. I don't know what you mean.
Can you measure it?
You can't. Alan White looks better than Cam Newton. Yeah, seriously. How about Cam Newton thrown at Auburn's pro day?
Cam Newton.
That's weird, dude. That whole thing is weird to me. Maury Alvarez, our great Floridian. Brett is taking names, and Utah just removed themselves from his list. I don't know. Listen, I think, again, I will just say that I've never been a believer in the four corner schools. Like, that's just not me. But what I do believe in is that the Arizona State, and Utah for the Big 12, and I mean, sure, I'll give you a nod on Colorado.
Right.
Because Prime is there and there's a lot of buzz, but those are the four most logical from a value standpoint.
Yes.
I don't, like proximity for Arizona and Arizona State. Okay. I mean, I guess that is saying the four corners, whatever you want to say. But if the Big 12 doesn't get Utah, that's a loss for the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loss for the Big 12. And I know that there are a lot of anti-Utah fans right now because of the arrogance in the Twitter machine. But
yeah,
if the Big 12 doesn't get Utah, it's a loss.
Totally.
It's a loss. There's just no way to spin that. Jackson Graham, not a member, says, "What's up, y'all? Jax, good to see you."
Sorry, does his last comment right there above that say he just pooped in?
No, popped in.
Oh, okay.
What is wrong with you?
I'm just making sure, dude. A
lot of fiber in the diet
Yeah,
these
I mean,
days.
we've had a lot of sleuths in here the last couple days. You know what I'm saying?
Jerry Davis, a member, says, "Did I hear right? ESPN is only offering $9 million per team for the Pac-12." Yeah, and it actually, for the first time, explains the $22 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
It for the first time, it explains why the Big 12 got 31.7. And the Pac-12 is struggling to get to 25. Because if you think about it, 22 minus 9 is 13.
Right.
I can see a streamer paying $13 million a year.
Yeah.
I absolutely can.
It's not a huge chunk of change.
So getting the 22, I think, is not that much. Now, if we're talking about, adding $8 million and you're having to pay $21 million a year, now I don't think that's so feasible. Now you're talking about, hey, we're going to pay you $21 million a year on a 5-year deal. There's a streamer out there that's going to commit $100 million minimum. And they're going to have to pay for production.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
I don't see, how do you make your money on that?
You better sell it.
In a 10-team conference that doesn't have a significant draw. How do you make your money on that?
How do you make your money on the MLS?
I don't know. I do not know.
But you see my point. Like,
I do see your point.
Like with Apple, you made the, like, in my opinion, maybe some people say, hey, it's too early to say the MLS was a mistake, but so far it's been a mistake.
Well, but there's also these stories with Apple TV, and if you don't know what we're talking about, Apple TV is the exclusive broadcast partner of MLS soccer, of the MLS, period. And there is an opt-out clause, allegedly, in the deal if there's not enough subscriber growth or not enough revenue growth. MLS or Apple can opt out of that.
The ink isn't dry yet.
Now, I don't know if that's true. Garber, the commissioner of MLS, said straight away, hey, we're not focused on that. Of course he's going to say that. It would not surprise me if there's an opt-out. But again, I just ask you, if you're the Pac-12, what value can you give to Apple TV,
yeah,
to Apple to say, hey, yeah, we're going to need you to pay us like $22 million a year. We're going to need $110 million for 5 years.
I want it.
What's the value in that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're the PAC, you don't have any choice but to ask for it. But if you're anybody else, like if you're on the other side of the table, the other side of the phone, I don't know why you would pay it. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't understand what the draw truly is, because again, I think once again, this is something that I don't think is getting talked about a lot. Like if you're a potential buyer in, like if you're an Apple TV, an Amazon, hell, even YouTube TV, even though they're not really in the middle of this thing, but we'll throw them in anyway. If you're any of these companies, why would you do a media deal with the Pac-12 right now? Why would you not just wait and see what happens? And then, hey, if the conference burns to the ground, okay, now we can look at the NBA deal. Now we can look at other stuff. But why would you take the risk? Because that's the thing. It's still a massive risk. Even for ESPN at $9 million a year per school, that's still a big risk in my opinion. I mean, obviously it's not a huge amount of money, but you're still risking the conference burning to the ground before you're getting your money out of that deal, right? Like there's potential that this conference won't be here in 2 years. So the idea that you would do $9 million per year per school, right, over the course of 5 years is crazy, dude. Like,
it is.
Like that's the thing, and that's what I think no one thinks about is like, okay, what is the risk reward play? Because you make a good point. Like, okay, you just inked a deal. Now you got to go and get your revenue out of it. Now you got to go out to market and say, hey, we're the home of the Pac-12. Advertise on ESPN. Good luck doing that because nobody values it. That's the problem.
Well, I think again, without USC and UCLA, it's a real kick in the balls. And
yeah,
the difference is you were able to go out and get legit. You're able to go out and get the #1 basketball team in the country in Houston. They're joining your conference next year.
Yeah,
you get BYU, that's a P5 million viewer powerhouse. They're joining your conference. Cincinnati off of a playoff berth. They're joining your conference.
Yes.
UCF off of undefeated seasons, joining your conference.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these teams joining the conference. That's not SMU. That's not San Diego State, with all due respect to San Diego State. That's not what that is.
By the way, I think another interesting point, too, is like if you're not getting BYU's million views every time they play, or you're not getting consistent, like really solid, no doubt about it viewership on your product, how are you going to sell that either? Because it works two ways. You're either selling, hey, we're SC, and because we're SC, you're going to buy into that, right?
Yes.
You're either buying brand or you're buying views. So if you don't have brand or views, what are you doing? Like that's what I mean. What do you do? There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. By the way, super stoked next Tuesday at 4:00. Looking forward to Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez, who's going to join the show to talk about the business of being the Mountain West and where they're positioned and what all of this means. Like it's a big deal, in my opinion, that Commissioner is going to join the show. We'll talk about the Mountain West. We'll talk about San Diego State. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the business of being in college sports right now, because I do think that's a big one.
Yeah.
I really do think that's a big one. But, you know, the thing that I'm curious about is Amazon versus Apple TV. And you as a millennial, I wonder your thoughts on which one of those is more attractive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Amazon is obviously a more complete product. I think the trouble is that, you know, this MLS deal just hasn't gone great for Apple. And I'm a guy that's got an iPhone, right? iPhone comes preloaded with the Apple TV app, yet the Apple TV app isn't on my phone. And what's funny is 2 years ago, I think I've had this phone for like 2.5 years now. And 2 years ago when I got the phone, part of my routine when I get a new phone is I always clear out all the apps that, you know, I just know that I'm never going to use. And Apple TV was one of those apps because I'm not an Apple TV guy. And I think the struggle is that there hasn't been a product on Apple TV that's caught my attention. I've heard people talking about, was it Ted Lasso or like some of these shows that they produce or whatever, but nothing's been like, yes, I have to jump. I have to get to Apple TV. And the MLS doesn't do that for me. So when you start looking at Apple TV versus Amazon, just from a pure entertainment standpoint, like if we put the PAC aside, just pure entertainment standpoint, Amazon has it all day. I mean, I can get everything from Nat Geo content to behind the scenes stuff on Deion Sanders to other educational materials. Like there's all kinds of stuff, obviously, that you can get on Amazon, and you can't say that about Apple TV right now. So to me, it's like it's really not even that close. But again, for the PAC, the struggle is that Amazon is too savvy of a business to allow the PAC to go all in with them, meaning that Amazon only wants that one game a week in an NFL model. They want NFL on Thursday, they want PAC on Friday, and everything else remains the same after that. So that's why I say, for me as a millennial, I'm an Amazon guy. But Apple hasn't exactly, in my opinion, done a great job of bringing new people in, because you hear all the time, it's T-Mobile, it's Verizon, like they've got all these phone company deals, they've got all these things where they have a go-between to the consumer. Oh, you shop here? Well, if you shop here, you can get on Apple TV for a discount or whatever. But that still doesn't help you with subscribership to, say, the MLS, or if they were to do a Pac-12 deal, a Pac-12 football game. It doesn't help you in those categories. So that's why I say I don't think that Apple TV is necessarily ready to make this huge investment in a football product. I think they want to find a way to sort of connive their way into Pac-12, but not be full share. Like I just don't think they're ready for that yet. Whereas Amazon, I know, has the money, but we know that they don't value it to that level, which I think is just this key, philosophical difference between the two.
I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
I think it's Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're just talking business partners, I think it's Amazon. I do. I feel like that's and I don't know what you guys think. In the comments, I'd love to see it. It just, we go over this all the time. And the struggle for me is in, I don't know what, 6-8 months, nothing has changed. We're having the same conversation over and over and over again. Nothing's changed. And it's still Amazon, and I think it's always going to be Amazon, in my opinion. Craig Kirsch, 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 I hope. When the PAC folds, PAC's not folding, Amazon can take the Big 12 on Friday night and push the deal to around $37 million per school. They're not folding. I know that a lot of Big 12 fans want to root for. Is root for too heavy? I don't know. Are hoping the Pac-12 folds. It's not going to happen. And in my opinion, you're at least 5 years from that happening.
Wow.
I don't see any way that they don't survive.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they survive in their current format. I think survival could be 8 teams, could be G5 level stuff, but I again, and I know we've been talking about it for 45 minutes now, but I don't see, I would feel differently if there was an obvious, hey, you got to do this and you survive. You got to do this thing. But they don't even have a thing. They don't even have like a goal. You're basically just out here in the middle of the ocean, hoping for the best. And that's what troubles
I can
me.
see them getting knocked down. I could see them not being a P5 conference, or however that whole thing would happen. I could see their membership having trouble staying credible. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
But I think it is very difficult for me to believe, and again, this is just my opinion. I think it is very difficult for me to believe that you're in a position where you're just going to disappear. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. There's nothing now that indicates that you would just simply vanish. You're making $20 million a year. You're going to lose schools. If it's $22 million a year, you're going to lose both Arizona schools. Are you going to lose Utah? I don't know. Probably not. Are you going to lose Colorado? I don't know. Probably not. But you're going to lose what you can't afford to lose, and that's a single school. Because I think you're going to lose the Arizona schools. I think you will lose, if I had to guess, I think you will lose Colorado. I do. I think you will lose Colorado, but you're not going to. You're not gonna just disappear. I just don't see that. And again, it's just my opinion, Craig. I don't see that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me that people, I don't know, I almost feel like people are rooting for the Pac-12's demise, and I think you're a little misguided there. Pac-12 blows. Gives us $5 to say Pac-12 on CNN. They need each other. I'm sure Don Lemon will provide some great commentary. Listen, man, you're putting all that effort into hating the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Find something to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why.
I don't understand that level of hate. I don't get that. Because it's not funny. Mm-hmm. It's not funny. It's not even humorous.
Well, I think people hate because they don't have another, again, I'm not trying to hate on anyone else, but I think that, that particular person commenting that tells me that you're just not well educated on it. You don't understand. And so you're just simply making a comment that's kind of asinine, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob Holsey, who's a member, says Arizona State, Colorado, and San Diego State. I'm happy with that. The first domino to fall, I think, is going to be Gonzaga. I think that's going to be the first major expansion domino that's going to go.
Right.
And I think that will make it easier for a lot of other people to go. But that's just my opinion. I have been told that the Big 12 has offered Gonzaga membership, and Gonzaga, I think, is just putting their ducks in a row. I think that's where we are with them.
Yeah.
None of that has changed. Casey Finlinson says, with the playoff expansion, is there really any reason why the Pac-10 would even worry about being considered a P5 conference? The expansion, in my opinion, changes a lot when it comes to P5 status.
I guess that's Pac-10.
Like this year, no, it doesn't matter. This coming season, it doesn't matter. But when you expand, I mean, are there 12 teams that are, so how many teams in the Pac-12 are legitimate playoff contenders a year from now? Arizona or Arizona State? No.
There's one.
Stanford and Cal? No. Are you Oregon State or Washington State? No. It's really Utah and I think Oregon. I think those two.
There's only one reason that you can put Utah in that mix, and that's Kyle Whittingham. That's it.
That's it.
They have all the boys are going to be done after this coming season, and they're fortunate they all came back. But Utah and Kyle Whittingham has earned the right to get that kind of respect. I mean, Witt's done a phenomenal job at Utah. So I would say, right now, without being super studied or super nerded out on what they have coming in next year, I would say fringe playoff team for Utah. I think that Oregon is really the only bona fide 100%, gonna compete for a spot there. I think we have to see what Utah's got after these guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I just think it's very interesting to me. Again, I think I look at this stuff very differently. I think the grant of rights stuff, I think all of this nonsense that we always talk about seemingly on a daily basis, I think all this is going away. I think grant of rights are going away. I think P5, G5, I think is going away.
Right.
It's a matter of if you're in the club, okay, great. I think the Pac-12, the biggest problem that nobody talks about with the Pac-12 is they've ostracized themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have ostracized themselves. And I think it makes it very difficult for anybody to want to do business with them.
Well, yeah, they don't trust you. That's the problem. They don't trust George. They don't trust the
plain and simple
the board. They don't trust anything. And that's, again, another thing we've talked about. And that's why I say, I know that you don't think that the Pac will just disappear, and I tend to agree with that. I don't think they're just going to dissolve into thin air. But I do think that, it's better than 50% that this conference looks very different in 2 years. Just because the money is so low, dude. I don't know why. If you're a premier brand like Oregon and really Washington, and I guess Colorado with Prime, depending on how he does in his first year, why would you take that or accept that? That's what I would wonder.